Welcome to my February buyer's guide slash new card releases video for Marvel Snap this month. This short video is going to run you through the 3 new card releases we have being added directly to Series 5. I'm going to talk through existing cards already in Marvel Snap that stand to benefit from these releases, and we're going to talk a little bit about potential counters you can utilize if you're expecting to be playing against these cards in the not too distant future. Without further ado, let's just go ahead and jump right into it, shall we? Our first new card released for February is Ghost, 1 energy, 2 power, with the ongoing effect your cards are always revealed last. This card has some interesting implications for the various interactive and counter tech cards that Marvel Snap has to offer. There are some tech cards, like Cosmo for example, that very much want to have priority and be flipping up before your opponent's on reveals can occur that turn. However, there are also a number of very powerful tech cards in Marvel Snap that prefer to go second, such as Shang-Chi or Enchantress. Being able to know that your key tech card like this is going to flip up after whatever big plays your opponent has made, perhaps even on the final turn of the game, can give you some security in knowing that you're going to be able to clear out their path. However, it does also open you up to some counterplay from other things like Cosmo or Armor that your opponent could be utilizing to counterplay your counterplay. Past just these generically good interactive cards like Shang-Chi, I think there are 2 cards that stand out in my mind as Marvel Snap cards that really stand to benefit from Ghost's effect. The first of which is Hazmat. So on reveal, afflict all other cards with -1 power. Hazmat's effect is much more powerful if you know your opponent's board is going to be fully revealed before her effect takes place. Basically, every card your opponent has face up adds 1 more stat that Hazmat is able to provide. And in the final moments of the game, the difference between going first or second could be 3 or even 4 additional points of stats being removed from the board, depending on the matchup. The second existing card that really stands to leverage Ghost in a powerful manner is Valkyrie. On reveal, set all cards at this location to 3 power. This means if you're revealing last on the final turn of the game, you can play Valkyrie out into a location, set the location essentially to a tie, so long as you both have the same number of cards there, and then easily break that tie in your favor with any number of ongoing effects such as Ant-Man or Blue Marvel or Mr. Fantastic. Our next new release for February is the one that I personally am most looking forward to building. Decks around Stature here, 5 energy, 7 stats. Stature only costs 1 if your opponent discarded a card from their hand this game. So Stature is obviously a pseudo hate card for things like the MODOK deck that are discarding their own cards. However, Stature is very likely to bring life to existing Series 3 cards that force your opponent to discard cards. Most notably Moon Knight here, who has the on reveal of discarding a card from each player's hand, as well as Black Bolt, which discards the lowest cost card from your opponent's hand. Both serve as excellent manners of turning Stature into a 1 energy 7 power card. Black Bolt is a card that sees virtually 0 play right now, but when you combine it with Stature, we're effectively getting 15 points worth of stats for just 6 resources on top of Black Bolt's potentially meaningful disruptive effect. This is far above rate for what we typically get for 6 energy in Marvel Snap, and if you add something like Moon Girl into the mix, potentially giving you an additional Stature for an additional 1 energy 7 power play, and hopefully there's something really here to put not only our new card Stature on the map, but also old ones like Black Bolt that have struggled to see a home in the metagame so far. Finally, we have what is definitely the weirdest and hardest to evaluate card coming to Marvel Snap this month, and that is Kang the Conqueror coming at the end of the month. 5 energy, 0 power, on reveal, look at what your opponent did and then restart the turn without Kang. Now, to start with, this is not simply another Daredevil effect like I have heard some people call it. The important key difference between Kang and Daredevil is twofold. First, Kang can be played on the 6th and final turn of the game, giving you crucial information at the most important step of the game. And second, your opponent is not locked into the decisions that they made. Kang resets time, meaning that your opponent can redeploy their cards to different locations, and they can even deploy different cards altogether if they decide their initial play is no longer good once you know it could potentially be coming. One other important thing that we just don't know yet until we get a chance to play with this card ourselves is if we draw Kang on the 5th or 6th turn of the game and we play him the turn we draw him, does restarting the turn mean we draw an additional card? If it does, that makes Kang's effect even more powerful because not only does it give us information for that turn, but it also means we effectively thinned our deck out. The way this card is written, it feels like it could potentially do that or potentially just restart the turn without you drawing anything that turn. I would love to know in the comments down below what you think, because I think this difference could potentially make or break the power level of this card. Even if Kang doesn't replace itself if you play it the turn you draw it from the deck, there's also the question of, is this an effect every deck is going to want? Information is valuable, but it's not without downside. Remember, Marvel Snap decks are only 12 cards, so you're replacing a potentially valuable card with Kang just to give yourself some information. It's also worth noting that Kang is technically an odd reveal effect here, which means there are almost assuredly going to be some very sad games where a player deploys a Kang and their opponent correctly guesses where that Kang's about to appear, and they Cosmo them out of one of the most important turns of the game, leaving their 5 energy, 0 power play with nothing done on the board. If you had to pick one of Marvel Snap's 3 new releases for February to get, which one would you get and why? As always, if you enjoyed my musings on the topic, I'd encourage you to snap that like button to help this video reach some more people, and make sure you're subscribed to the channel. You watched the video all the way through to the end, you probably enjoyed some of what you had to hear. I post Marvel Snap tidbits like this and game news updates and deck highlights 7 days a week, and I'd love to see you back again. Happy snapping, folks, and hopefully see you back again later this morning for a sweet deck highlight as always.